What is up, everybody? This is Anthony, and of course, this is the VR Game Rankings daily live stream on YouTube. What is going on? It is Friday. It is September 14th, 2018. Let me make sure that I am live on YouTube. It's showing stream health, huh? It's saying I got a problem with my stream health. You are live, but my stream health is not proper. Not sure what's going on here. I'm going to go ahead and see Bullet Ape. Hi, what is up? Chris Cox. Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? Because when I go over here to my dashboard, like the stream health is orange instead of green. I don't know if that's normal. I don't think it's normal. Usually it's green. I guess I'll just ignore it. And not worry about it. So anyways, we will just go ahead and move on from that, and we won't even concern ourselves with it. So yeah, today is Friday, and it is September 14th, 2018. And I'm not sure if there's like any major breaking news that is going on. I have not really checked any of the news stories or anything today. But what I will do is I will go ahead and throw on the normal intro trailer to go ahead and kick the show off. I will go ahead and do that. And, you know, I'm always late with my sound on this, so I'm going to let it start over one time. Always late with the sound. I need to do that before I do this. So yeah, here we go. It is VR Game Rankings. This is the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel, and this is Daily Vlog Live. It is episode 201. It is Friday, it is September 14th, and it's a brand new day, and everybody is in the mix. Chris Cox says, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is out. It has built-in 3D support like the previous game. You know, one thing I've heard about in regards to a lot of these Tomb Raiders is, do you guys remember back to the old 3D days? Like, remember the 3D goggles? Remember when 3D was a thing? Does anybody remember when 3D was a thing? Well, back in the 3D days, I believe that the Tomb Raider games, they were designed in such a way that they really worked nicely in 3D. A lot of the Tomb Raider games worked really good in 3D. So I imagine that some of the Tomb Raider games work really nice in like Vorp X and stuff like that. Kev Gretz says 3D is still a thing in my house. It is still a thing, really. It is really still a thing. That is kind of crazy because like I was super into 3D when that whole thing first happened. Like when the 3D TVs first came out. Do you guys remember that World Cup? There was a World Cup that was about to start when 3D kind of first took off. And you would go to like Best Buy or wherever these TV places that had these brand new 3D TVs, and they would have like this Panasonic 3D TV that cost like $5,000 or something ridiculous. And it was basically just like a 40-inch or a 50-inch widescreen like plasma TV, but it had 3D capabilities, and they were selling those things for like $4,000, $5,000. Does anybody remember that? And PlayStation 3 was the system, and there were a number of games that supported 3D. Wipeout HD, Super Stardust. You know, you had a number of MotorStorm Pacific Rift, one of my favorites. You had a number of games that supported 3D, and so if you had your 3D goggles for your 3D TV, and if you had a PlayStation 3 or like 3D Blu-ray or all these different stuff, that's what it was, man. It was 3D TV. What the hell happened to that? Phil Yarn says, hey guys, I finally tried virtual reality. That game is freaking awesome. It's a must buy for VR gamers. I agree with your take, Phil Yarn, but you know what? If MameFan jumps into chat or some of these other people, there's a number of people that just like virtual reality. I don't know if it just flies right over their head or they just don't like that kind of comedy, or they're just not feeling it. I don't know what it is, but I loved virtual reality. I thought it was an awesome game. Great game. And I do believe that it's freaking awesome. It is a must buy. And people that don't grab virtual reality, I think they're kind of crazy, but it's definitely kind of like a love it or hate it type of thing. It does appear to be a love it or hate it kind of a deal. Let's see what else people are saying. Chris Cox says, if you pull the screen as close as possible and add some curve, it's not far off VR support. And Phil Yarn says, I still have my NVIDIA 3D Vision set up, and it still is awesome. The stereo 3D works very similar to VR, but you can get better graphics on flat 3D. Chris says, I loved 3D, but the technology wasn't ready, and it got released before it was good enough. Lots of crosstalk and other problems. Yeah, it's funny because now that we have these VR headsets, and if you watch something that is properly done in stereo 3D, like for example, Amaze 3D, a lot of these videos in Amaze 3D, I put these things on and I was like, 3D was never like this when I was doing 3D. It didn't look like this. It didn't look this good. People didn't look like they were standing inches away from me. And it's funny now that 3D, if you have that VR headset, 3D stuff can look really, really good. That's why a lot of people are ripping their 3D Blu-rays, and they're watching their 3D Blu-rays on like an Oculus Go or a PlayStation VR or anything like that. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Chevy says he agrees. VVR. He agrees with Phil Yarn that yes, virtual reality is an awesome game. It is really cool, and anybody that is not checking it out, they're doing themselves a disservice. But again, different strokes for different folks. Phil Yarn, do you remember the level with the pinwheel? The whimsical pinwheel. I love the voice. Oh my God, I love the voice of the pinwheel. It is so awesome. Somebody is driving a Ferrari today? What? VR Mania Q says, I driving Ferrari today, like a real legit Ferrari. I have a fantasy, folks. I want a Ferrari 458 Spider. I believe it's the 458 Spider Ferrari red. I want one. I want one of those. I really do. I'm going to have to wait for VR to drive it around and open up. One of the things that VR will allow us to do, I believe, is to live out like our multi-billionaire style fantasies from a standpoint of having an incredible, beautiful palace of a house with indoor waterfalls, kind of like Oculus Home. Like you get into Oculus Home, you're in these really nice mansions, right? But then to also have like a Ferrari in your garage, a Lamborghini, to have your own helicopter, and to get inside of these things and get inside and close the door and drive your Ferrari around and go down Rodeo Drive in a Ferrari. And even if we can't live that in real life, we're going to be able to live that in VR. So that is super cool. So I guess VR Mania Q is saying, nah, Project Cars 2, bro. Project Cars 2, there's a 60% discount. And Gopher Chucks is saying, hey, Assetto Corsa has the Ferrari, the 458 Spider that I dream about. Assetto Corsa does have that. So I guess if I had a steering wheel and everything, and I had Assetto Corsa and I had a Star VR headset, I could like really, really imagine myself in my Ferrari. That would be kind of cool. Chris Cox says, I thought VVR was fun for the first 30 minutes, but started to drag after that, and I finished it after an hour. And I haven't ran through all of virtual reality. Like I haven't ran through the entire game. And some of the levels were better than others. Some of the levels were funnier than others. Some of the levels have better voice work than others, but I just think it's so creative. It's so interesting. So I'm a fan of that. Phil Yarn says, I made it up to the garden level where you drop to the flower pot. I'm very early in VVR, but I'm loving it. Oh my God, the pinwheel. There's a whimsical Pinwheel. I just love the voice for that. Yeah, Chris Cox says the pinwheel is the best part. They need to make a game just around that voice and that character, because I just love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, so let's see here. Do we have any actual news? Perish the thought that we'd actually have some legitimate news. Well, there is some minor Space Junkies news. Remember Space Junkies, folks? Okay, so here's Space Junkies. This is a weirdly formatted trailer. Let's check this out real quick. It's like me and my teammate or something.
More than just a faceless partner that I go into battle with. We share everything. We share our defeats. We share our victories. We even share a ball. When he moves, I move. When he talks, I listen. We communicate to annihilate. My teammate is my only line of defense. And I will never leave him behind. My teammate, my friend.
Yeah, so that is the news right there. There is another closed beta that is coming. It is coming on September 26th. It does run till October 1st. You know, some people have been wondering, what is the deal with Space Junkies? Like, whatever happened to Space Junkies?
More than just a faceless partner.
It was actually on the Vive subreddit, in fact. This was like a news story on the Vive subreddit. I wonder if Ubisoft Montepeller, which I believe is the developer behind this game, I wonder if they saw that on the Vive subreddit. They're like, we need to make an announcement about Space Junkies. Let's do this new closed beta number 2 on September 26th. So this is coming up September 26th through September 1st. And maybe when this closed beta is in the books, maybe we'll actually get like a release date for it. But it's kind of a funny trailer. They're kind of doing this bromance thing. I mean, it's, you know, it's funny. It's kind of hilarious. It's a cool trailer. I don't know why it's got this weird ass format though. But yeah, that is coming September 26th through October 1st. You know, guys, as much as I hate Uplay, and boy, do I hate you. I just hate these kind of stores and all that. We've gone through this. Maybe I will bite my tongue, swallow my pride, and try to get into this beta and check it out. Because I've never played Space Junkies. Never, ever have I played the Space and the Junkies. I've never done it. And I think Phil Yarn was the one that was saying, dude, Anthony, you gotta play Space Junkies. You're really missing out here not playing Space Junkies. So I think I'll actually try that on September 26th if I don't have to jump through too many freaking hoops to make that happen. Okay, in other trailer news, we do have a game called Limbs, and this is an early access. This is a new trailer. It's called Limbs. I got to get my trailer windows back in the mix here. Let me get some sound, and I'll switch to a full screen trailer. And this, of course, is going to be offline a little bit here. Here we go. I think it's on track now. So yeah, this is Limbs. I don't know anything about this, but I believe it is in early access now. I think this is available now. Let me look it up on Steam here. Okay, so yeah, this is Limbs coming soon. I saw somewhere that this is available now, I believe. Don't know too much about this. It almost looks like, you know, Limbs. I wonder if it's short kind of for lemmings. Like maybe you have to guide these little guys along. Although I'm just seeing one little guy. But it looks like, you know, so you're using that to help him along. So maybe it's kind of like a lemming style game. Not sure. But yeah, if we go over here to the web browser with the small video window. So this is Limbs. Limbs is a VR reverse platformer. Use the platforms attached to your controller to guide little creatures through their quest to find a new lair. Find the best platforms to use and show your skill and agility by carrying the limbs safely across 50 plus levels. Now it says that this was released on June 21st. We do have 3 user reviews, and the developer is called Universe Worth Experiencing. Do we have a price here? There's a demo. There is a demo for Limbs. The price is $17.99, but it does have a special promotion that ends on September 24th. It is $16.19. So let's see here. Like if we scroll down, it says Limbs is now on Oculus Rift. This was on September 11th. And Limbs sale to celebrate Oculus launch September 13th. So I don't know. I guess this isn't brand new. I guess this has been available for a while. I just found out about it today. So it's kind of new to me. So I thought that might have been a new game. But anyways, we'll see what happens there. Okay, let's see what folks are talking about here in chat. IPCSK says, go for you, Play, Anthony. We've got your back, Anthony. Go for it. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to have to bite the bullet, am I? I'm going to have to bite the bullet. Phil Yarn says, damn it, Anthony, just do it. Well, you know, next week, next Tuesday, right, is Transference. And when I tried the Transference demo, I don't know anything about Uplay. Like, I didn't see any Uplay anything when I was screwing around with Transference. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, September 26th, we have Space Junkies. I will try to get into that. We'll try to check that out. Sponge720 says, what is the target audience? Is he talking about Limbs? It kind of looks like a kid type game, but it's very much, if you're a big fan of like Lemmings and stuff, I guess that's what this is all about. Like we can check out some of these screenshots here. You can see that, you know, you're like arranging these platforms and you're trying to guide these little characters to get them to where they need to go. So kind of interesting, kind of like Moss a little bit like Moss. So who knows how cool that is. The Wizard VR is 50% off. Yeah, VR Mania Q is checking in, talking about that. Yeah, I think I saw it for, isn't it like $8 or something like that? So the Wizard, I don't know. I tried the Wizard VR. Didn't really speak to me when I tried it originally. But that was a long time ago, and I know it's kind of improved by leaps and bounds. And then, of course, you know, Zero Caliber. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it was towards the end of the show. And so the announcement here is November 9th. It is November 9th for Zero Caliber. So we do have a date on that. I think there's another game that had a date as well, but now I can't remember what it was. But basically, let's see here. I do not have really any news stories prepared. So I think what we're going to go ahead and do now is we are going to go ahead and bounce over to Upload VR and just see, let's see what are the newest news stories that are going on. But before we do that, let's quickly check with some of the comments in chat. Phil Yarn says, a PSA, Pimax reviews will be out Sunday. So I guess the embargo on the Pimax reviews will be out Sunday. But honestly, do we really need to wait for this embargo? And do we really feel like the reviews are going to be truly legit this Sunday? What I'm waiting for, the reviews that I'm waiting for, is when just your regular everyday Kickstarter backer actually gets his Pimax, like Sar In, who sometimes shows up in chat. He is a Pimax Kickstarter backer. And the reviews that I'm waiting for, yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, Gopher Chuck says, I try to wait till someone that paid for it reviews it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I want the actual legitimate Kickstarter backers, the regular Tom, Dick, and Harrys. Let them get their hands on these Pimaxes and let them screw around with it for about a month. And then what are they going to say? See, you guys are going to jump out there on Sunday and you're going to try to get these brand new Pimax reviews when the embargo is up, but you're getting reviews from people that have kind of been you know, they've been given like Pimaxes and stuff. They've been treated like these, like they're first class passengers. What about everybody in coach? What about everybody in coach? These are first class passengers. They're sipping on Mai Tais. They've got a fan that's blowing right at them. They're very nice and comfortable. And I want the reviews from the regular, everyday scum of the earth. That's what I'm looking for. James Davis 911 says, Sebastian at MRTV is a good source. Sure. We do have some honest, good sources. Phil Yarn also says, I think Sebastian from MRTV will give an honest review. I don't have much faith in the others, though. That hurts. And Chris Cox says, I'm waiting for Tested to review the Pimax. Yeah, Tested, honestly, nobody does better reviews, I think, than Tested in terms of being fair and balanced, in terms of not letting the hype and everything overwhelm them, and not being like hypercritical and going hyper negative, not being hyper positive. I feel like Tested is the most balanced out there. So yeah, hopefully they will get their hands on these Pimaxes after a while. But yeah, I'm not going to jump to these reviews right away and think that, oh, okay, Sebastian says Pimax is the way to go. You know, I don't know. I'm sure Sebastian is an honest guy. You know, I think Sweeviver is pretty honest. He might be a little bit on the too positive side of the coin, maybe a little bit. But I think he's honest. I mean, I think most of these people, I think, are honest. But at the same time, they are humans. And so if they've been provided free stuff, there is some human psychology that goes along with that. But why don't we go ahead and check out Upload VR and see what is the big news stories of the day. Greg's VR says, yeah, Norm and Jeremy are legit AF. They're legit AF, man. They're legit as beep. They are straight up legit. Absolutely. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's check out Upload VR. Let's see, what are the big news stories, because I really don't know. So Metal Slug VR is coming to arcades with the help of World War Tunes. What? What are they talking about here? Wouldn't Metal Slug VR be really, really cool? I guess. Sure it would. Bloody Zombies is really, really cool. And that would be similar to Metal Slug. So don't really know what's going on in this story. So Metal Slug and World War Tunes are jumping in bed together in some kind of way. And it's going to hit some type of VR arcades. But I don't know. You know, I don't really know what exactly this means. I did try to look for like a trailer or something for this on YouTube. I could not find one. So I don't know that there's any kind of trailer, but that is something that is happening. Metal Slug VR, World War Tunes. You know, I know World War Tunes was like a free-to-play deal on PlayStation VR at one point, but I don't know if they shut it down or closed it or something. So I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, so the next big story, long-awaited VR mech battler, Vox Machina, and we did see a brand new trailer for this. This is coming early in the fall. I just wanted to check this little story here to see if they have any better information in terms of like when this is coming. I'm hoping this is like a September release, you know, because I mean September, I'm sorry. I'm hoping it's October, because September is just September. We got enough. We got enough on our plate in September. We don't need Vox Machina in September. A discovery of Witches VR comes to London this weekend. Not sure what that's all about. Evasion Hands-On, a VR shooter that is all about staying mobile. Yeah, we do have Evasion to look forward to. That is October 9th. So we do have some October heat. We, of course, have Astrobot on October 2nd as well. So those are some of the biggest news stories that are going on Upload VR. I'll go ahead and see what Road to VR has going on. And, of course, we will keep checking chat as well. And if anybody has any topics or anything they want to bring up, games they've been playing lately, any stuff like that, you guys can go ahead and bring it up, because it is Friday and, you know, we can go towards anything. But let's go ahead and see what the news is on Road to VR as well. Road to VR, of course, they're talking about Vox Machina. It is coming soon. There is a new trailer. Kiaro and the Elixir of Life. What about Kiaro? Well, I believe the problem, whatever problem that Kiaro and the Elixir of Life had, I believe they've fixed that now. I still haven't played it though. Let me see, where is Kiaro? Let me see if I can find that trailer. It's a good looking game. You know, Kiaro and the Elixir of Life is a pretty cool looking game. And they were, yesterday, the 13th, was supposed to be launch day. Okay, here's the trailer for Kiaro and the Elixir of Life. I think it looks pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. Kind of looks a bit like the gallery and some of these other games where you're kind of manipulating things and interesting environments. And it's being brought to us by the Martov company. They had problems yesterday. I don't know what the problem was. They provided me with a key for the game. I tried to download the game and install it a bunch of different times to get into it. I wanted to check it out prior to our show so I can give you guys some feedback on it. But something was jacked up, like the executable or whatever. There was a Steam type of a problem. But that appears to have been fixed. And so I believe Kiaro and the Elixir of Life, I believe it is back in the mix. Let's go ahead. We can check out the Steam page for it and see if we can get a, see if it seems to be back in the mix here. But the good news is I actually just downloaded this right before the show. I thought, let me check Kiaro. Let me see if it's back in the mix. And it is. It is back in the mix. Let me go over here to the web browser. So here it is. Kiaro. It does appear to be back in the mix. $30. 30 buccarinos, ladies and gentlemen. 30 buccarinos. Release date September 14th. That is today. There are 2 user reviews. These are not the CEOs of the company. Not at all. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so Kiaro, as you may see, Kiaro is listed for September 13th release. They had a little bit of a problem. They had a few hiccups, but now they are back in the building. So 30 bones, that is aggressive. That is highly aggressive. Wasn't this like a Kickstarted game or something? I forget what it was, like a Kickstarter or something, or maybe it was a Patreon or whatever. I forget what the deal was with Kiaro and the Elixir of Life, but 30 bones, that is aggressive. And I will hopefully be able to try out this game later today, hopefully, and have my thoughts on Saturday's episode. But $30, that is pretty harsh because they are dealing with the fact that other people are thinking about Windlands 2 for $30. So this has to really, really hit hard. It's a harsh market out there in the PC VR world. It really is. A lot of price sensitivity, I think. But this is Kiaro. Paradise Decay has given Kiaro a go. So maybe if Paradise jumps into chat, I don't think I've seen Paradise in here yet. Chris says, Kiaro looks awesome, but when I saw the price, Shadow of the Tomb Raider got my money instead. Yeah, so you're doing the Vorp X thing, I presume. Chevy says, Anthony, you mentioned showing your Go to some folks. I usually forget to tell them about the sweet spot and don't get the headset adjusted real good at first. I'm going to be taking my Oculus Go to a birthday party / barbecue thing later this evening, and I am going to put a whole bunch of people into this Oculus Go. I want to show them Drop Dead, and I want to show them Amaze 3D, and show them some of these I also want to just show them the 3D, just the 3D screenshots, the 3D pictures, where you put that on and you're just, you know, you just turn around and you check out a 3D picture. I want to show, I think the Oculus Go is a fantastic device, and I can't wait to show everybody that, because I think it's going to be, I think a lot of people are going to be like, wow, I didn't know that this was $200. I didn't know it was like this good, you know, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I will be showing them that later today. I got to make sure I don't get any sunlight on the headset. In terms of the like sweet spot, I feel like you just have to kind of like move it around a little bit until you get a good seal with it, a good lock on it. So yeah, we will be doing that later today. And then on Saturday's show, tomorrow's show, somebody remind me, how did the Oculus Go turn out? You know, because I'll see how people tried it, whether they liked it, all that kind of a thing. But yeah, so Kiaro is in the building. It is available. $30, not exactly a drop in the bucket, but we'll check that out. We'll see what happens with that. Just looking for a rando trailer to put on. Well, I'll put on a Creed trailer. Creed is coming, September 25th. Let's not forget about Creed. Don't forget about Dre. Don't forget about Dre. Don't forget about Creed, because Creed is coming later this month. Everybody's throwing all their money on Kiaro, and they're throwing their money on Windlands 2, and they're throwing their money on Transference and Blind and all these games that come out next week. But remember, we do also have Creed. We also have Jet Island on September 21st. This September is pretty freaking banging. It really is. It's pretty freaking cool. Lots of stuff going on this September. Trying to see if I had any other minor little stories. Not really. Okay, so don't have really any other stories to go into in a major way. Let me see. We can go back to Road to VR because we got distracted by Kiaro. Let's see what the other stories they have at Road to VR. I'll be back in chat in just a sec here, so hold on just a second. So yeah, again, the Vox Machina sometime in early fall. Kiaro is available today. Google appears to be ramping up research and development efforts for new and novel AR VR. Not sure what's going on with there. And Transference is set to launch next week. This is the one that I thought would be the biggest single game of the month, Transference. Still very excited about it. I'm a bit disappointed about the price, the $25 price, because I know it's going to be a lot smaller of an experience after seeing that price point. And then there's this story, I Expect You to Die. I Expect You to Die has reached the 3 million revenue mark across all platforms. Of course, one of the things we have to remember, though, I Expect You to Die is on basically everything. Like, it is literally on everything. I don't know if I have an Expect You to Die trailer. Let me see if I can find it, if I do. But, I mean, it's basically on freaking everything, so it's kind of hard. I mean, it hit the 3 million mark across all the different platforms it's on. And it is Shell Games is the developer of I Expect You to Die. Not finding a trailer right now, so I'll just have to abandon that because it's going to take me too long to find the trailer. But yeah, I mean, it's good news. It's good news, but it's also kind of bad news. It's also kind of bad news because, I mean, it's on PlayStation VR, it's on Steam, it's on Oculus Store. It's probably on Oculus Go, I would think. It's probably on like Gear V. It's probably on everything. I Expect You to Die is all across everything. Gopher Chuck says, I Expect You to Die is a great experience. Watching my wife panic at dynamite in the glove box. Yeah, it's one of those kinds of games. It's kind of like an escape the room game, but you're not in a room and you have to like panic and do all of this stuff. And a lot of people rave about I Expect You to Die from Shell Games. And they've brought in some decent money according to that story, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like, I mean, it seems like that should have happened as long as it's been available and as many freaking platforms that game has been on. I'm just going to some rando trailers here, folks, in the background. This is Archangel. This is some footage of Archangel, which I think is a very underrated game, but I think it's pretty cool. And let's see what folks are talking about in chat. So Airman 929-565, I know can't happen, but Brass Tactics would be a great game with the Oculus Go. They'd have to dumb it down significantly, but yeah, could be interesting. Gopher Chuck says, what would stop it? The controls, or is it too demanding on the CPU? I mean, they would definitely have to scale it down, and the controls are an issue. Because, you know, the little controller that you hold in your hand, I wish that it tracked better. I wish it tracked better because when I'm using my Oculus Go, you know, I have my Oculus Go on my head and I have that little remote in my hand and I'm holding it like right here like this, but it's not appearing right here like this. It's appearing over here, going that way. And so that's where Santa Cruz is going to help us out, to have like really precise tracking. That little controller does kind of hold back the Oculus Go to a degree. Airman 929-565, Brass is a great game. and I don't even like those types of games. Yeah, it's not my kind of game either, and it got me into that kind of game because it is done so well. It's kind of funny because Brass Tactics, that's an early 2018 release. We've kind of forgotten about it after a while. Paradise Decay, jumping into chat. So Paradise, the big question is Chiaro and the Elixir of Life. I have not had a chance to try it yet. I tried to play it a bunch of times yesterday. It never worked. It seems to be up and running now. Apparently you have already tried it, Paradise. What are your early thoughts? Because it is 30 buccarinos. It is $30, so not cheap. Curious to hear your thoughts. Maybe you've just scratched the surface, Paradise. Chris says, correct me if I'm wrong, but can't you buy the Pimax 8K and run it at a lower resolution? Kind of like Super Sample, but reverse, but still take advantage of the lower SDE? Probably you could do that. Chris Cox, though, says, I've heard the blacks aren't very good on the 8K, and maybe the 5K Plus has better blacks. And yeah, so we'll have to see. I mean, obviously, all the Pimax news, a lot of that is going to come out this Sunday. We're going to get more information, but we're going to get information from people that have been embargoed. And so I kind of caution people to go too overboard with what everybody has to say as far as that goes. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, not much else to talk about. Not much in the news right now. I mean, we could obviously check out the Vive subreddits. Of course, we can check that out. Over at VR Game Rankings, you guys might remember, it was a couple of days back, I was talking about how so many of our rankings are so very outdated and haven't been updated in forever, like our genre-specific rankings, right? Well, I actually updated one of them. Just earlier today, I updated our horror game rankings, and we used to have a top 20 horror/thriller games. Now we have a top 30. So I'll go ahead and show you guys. This is the top 30 VR horror thriller games, all platforms. It has been updated. Numero uno, baby, is Organ Quarter by Outer Brain Studios, jumping into the #1 position. Am I crazy? Am I crazy for doing that? See, at VR Game Rankings, if we don't have enough submissions from everyday people, then the VR Game Rankings editors are responsible for creating the list. So that basically goes to me. We don't have enough submissions with everybody's favorite horror games, so I had to create this list myself, and I'll be honest, I put Organ Quarter at #1. Why did I do it? I did it because of atmosphere. I did it because of vibe. I really feel Organ Quarter tremendously thick with atmosphere. It's thick with oppression. It's just a miserable kind of a place. And I really feel like being in Organ Quarter, I really feel like it captures that. It is a horror game. It is a thriller. I put Organ Quarter at #1. Resident Evil 2, #2. Alien Isolation, A Chair in a Room, Rush of Blood, Brookhaven, The Exorcist Legion VR. It is coming in at #7. Paranormal Activity, Dread Halls, Here They Lie, Subnautica, Doom, BFG, Doom 3 BFG, Killing Floor, Affected, In Death, now on the horror charts, Edge of Nowhere, Arizona Sunshine, Contagion makes the horror rankings, Dead Effect 2 VR, Raw Data, Duck Season, it has a lot of horror elements. Arctica only has horror elements in part of it. I mean, it's a bit horror thriller all the way. Wilson's Heart, a little bit light on the horror thriller, but it's in the genre. It's in the genre. Ghost Town Mine Ride, The Impatient, Narcosis, Batman Arkham VR. Never thought of it as a horror game, but yeah, when you get to the very end of Batman Arkham VR, it is kind of horror. Hordes, Drop Dead, which is very good on an Oculus Go, by the way, and Doom VFR. So that is our top 30. And one thing that you guys need to know about these horror games is they're not ranked in order of just being a good game. Okay, they're not being ranked in the order of being a good game. They're being ranked in an order of being a good horror thriller game. That's how they're being ranked. So some of these games, like I go down here, you know, Arizona Sunshine is way down here at 17. A lot of people can say, hey, Arizona Sunshine is better than the freaking Exorcist. Arizona Sunshine is better than Paranormal Activity. But I think The Exorcist and Paranormal Activity are better horror thriller games maybe than Arizona Sunshine. So that is taken into consideration. But we did just update this, and I can tell you that we're going to try to update a lot more of these individual genre rankings as well. And so I'm just bringing this up because it's a slow news day. It's a slow news day, so I could go ahead and bring it up. But let's go back to chat. So Paradise is checking in about Chiaro. He's saying it's really good, but a lot of people complaining about the price. Only played about an hour and 30 minutes, and I've done one of the major puzzles. AI companion is well done. So yeah, I mean, people are gonna complain about the price. $30. They are gonna complain about it. Let's see. Jim Hall says you can't run Pimax 8K natively. That's the 8KX due out much later. And then Chris Cox says exclusivity is necessary at this point. Unfortunately, a lot of the best VR games wouldn't exist without it. And Paradise says Oregon Quarter is an underdog and really scary. Sponge 720 says Brookhaven is his number one. Chris Cox, did you get any further in Alien Isolation? I have not played Alien Isolation in a lot. Airman 929565 been playing a ton of In Death. Love it. Yeah, dude, In Death is a gamer's game. Gopher Chuck says Arizona would be scary if you could smell it. If you could smell how awesome, I mean, how nasty it would smell with all those rotting zombies. Yeah, dude, In Death is a gamer's game. It is a straight up gamer's game. Chris says, that's an awesome list. Lots of must-have games. Yeah, it is. I mean, this is the point. The point of VR game rankings is we want to highlight the best games that are currently available, and we also want to hype up the games that are coming soon. And this is a great list. So if somebody doesn't know anything about horror thriller games on VR and they just don't have the clue, they can come here and they can take a look and they can see, oh, Oregon Quarter, Resident Evil, Alien Isolation. I didn't know this was in VR. Oh, it's a VR mod, you know, and so they can kind of get a clue. And Brookhaven, don't sleep on Brookhaven, ladies and gentlemen. Brookhaven is not only going to be ranked pretty well on this horror chart, which it is, but it's also ranked pretty good on the wave shooter. But I'm going to be updating all the wave shooters. There's a lot more wave shooters that arrived, so we're going to be updating all of this. John Edwards says, slow news day, but I've never been more excited about the future of VR. And Paradise says, Blue Effect is full of jump scares and plays like Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, there's other horror games. Like, we could continue to go. I could make a top 40 because there is, what's that horror game? Don't Knock Twice or something like that. You know, I mean, there's a number of other horror games that didn't make the cutoff. You know, so there's definitely more horror games. Gopher Chuck says raw data is not scary. Really? Because I've been in raw data and I've turned around and all of a sudden one of those freaking crazy robots was right in my face and it scared the crap out of me. So yeah, it's horror slash thriller. It's horror slash thriller. Like Wilson's Heart is not super scary, but it's a horror slash thriller. So we have to bend it a little bit. You know, we have to bend it a little bit. We don't have like 1,000 games to choose from. We got like 500 games to choose from. So we have to bend the rules a tiny bit when we're ranking these various games. So I've been running this Archangel trailer for a minute here. So let's see if we can get off of that and get on to a different trailer. Let's throw on Be the Hero, bro. Be the Hero. Throw on the Be the Hero trailer. And you know what? There's actually a trailer I want to grab. Let me see if I can grab a trailer because there's a new Oculus Go game that I tried for the first time yesterday, and a lot of people been saying some really good things about this game in chat. Actually, that's where I heard about it, from you guys in chat, and so I went ahead and tried it. I'm gonna see if I can grab the trailer for it though. Hold on a second. See if I can get this trailer. Yeah, okay, here we go. Here's a trailer for it. And I will grab this and throw it into 4K video downloader, and I can talk about another Oculus Go game that I've tried. You know what else I have on Oculus Go? I got to turn the volume down. This Be the Hero is super loud. I have Republic VR, which a lot of people talk about on the Oculus Go. I haven't played it yet, though. I haven't played it, and I think the problem is I downloaded it and I got it on my Oculus Go, but I keep getting these messages about how like my hard drive is like overflowing, and that was the last thing that I downloaded, and I think there's a problem with it. I think I might have my hard drive too filled up, so I think I need to delete something off my Oculus Go and then re-download Republic, because every time I start up Republic, I get into it for a little bit and then the screen goes black and it just stops, and so something's wrong with it. So I need to probably delete that, re-download it, but I think I need to get some more room on there. And Chebby says, Coaster Combat? Could Coaster Combat possibly be the game that I am talking about? And you know what? It is Coaster Combat. I did try this. Let's go ahead and check this trailer out. We can full screen this baby. This is by Forcefield. They developed Landfall. Oops, my bad, messed it up. Yeah, so that is Coaster Combat, and you know what? I played this yesterday, yesterday basically, and I tried a bunch of different tracks for it, a bunch of the different roller coaster tracks, and it is fun. It just works great, you know? It works really well, and it has a good feel to it. This is another game that I might put some people into tonight when I go to this barbecue birthday party thing. I'm probably going to be mostly putting people in Drop Dead and Amaze 3D and some other little demos like that. But this is a demo that I might put some people in because it works very well. And graphics are pretty good, and it flows well, and it's very simplistic, but it works. It's funny because I've really avoided any kind of roller coaster type things in VR because it just didn't make sense to my brain that I would be sitting in a chair doing some kind of roller coaster thing, but my chair isn't moving. I'm not moving at all, but I'm seeing me do all these things, and I just thought that's not going to work well with my stomach. That's a very bad idea for my stomach. So I've actually gone out of my way to avoid anything roller coaster based. And I just said, for this one, I thought, well, let me try it. It's roller coaster, and I tried it, and I didn't get queasy. I didn't really get, I didn't get nauseous or anything. I was trying to find those things and shoot those things and get the points and, just trying to get points and stuff. But you know what? One of the things about this game, so Coaster Combat, like technically it's like free, right? It's technically free, but I believe what happens is when you download this Coaster Combat game, you basically there's 4 main tracks that they have, and you get 5 tries on each of these tracks. And so when you do a try, it'll say four tries left, and if you do another one on that track, there's 3 tries left. And so you do get some free opportunities to play this game, but eventually you're going to run out of all of your tries. You're going to run out of all of your tries, and then you're probably going to have to download that and blah, blah, blah. It's going to take some time there. Martino Movie says, in Amaze, if you download the content first, the resolution is better. The girl who tries on different swimsuits is really great. It feels like you're in the changing room with her. Gee, yeah. No, Amaze 3D, man. I'm telling you, I just think like a lot of the visuals in Amaze 3D, it just looks clean and crisp. Why is everybody else's 180 videos not as clean and crisp? I don't know. Is it something with the Oculus Go? I don't know what it is. John Edwards says, even thinking of a roller coaster in VR makes me queasy. Yeah, that was originally my idea. I mean, that was my thoughts as well. Just thinking about roller coasters in VR, just like, no. Why would I give me a D-Box motion chair? Yeah, then I'll do a roller coaster. Actually, you know what? That brings me to one of my questions. And this is a question for anybody in chat or anybody anywhere, really. If we had the proper motion chair, could we perfectly simulate a roller coaster ride? Like, is that possible? And how long is it going to take for that to happen? Because you would think at a certain point, we could probably almost perfectly simulate a roller coaster ride. Imagine you're sitting in a special D-Box chair, right? And you know when the roller coasters are going, and you're like leaning way back like this, and the roller coaster's going, and you know, oh my God, this is like, as soon as I get to the top, it's going to go zip, zip, and around, and it's going to go, woo, we're going to go down. See, Prince Alexander says it can simulate the movement, but not the G-forces. And that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. That's the problem. How are we going to ever simulate G-forces? Or can we just not do it? Or you basically need to put somebody physically on the roller coaster. It's the only way you're going to get the G-forces. Chris Cox says you could get close, but I don't think you could simulate inertia. Yeah, that is the problem. So I don't know. You know, are we ever going to perfectly dial in roller coasters? Because it's a thing, right? It's pretty popular. It's a thing. Yeah, you can't get those G-forces effects. You know, you just can't get the G-forces effects. Chris says, roller coasters never appealed to me in VR. Without the feedback, it does not feel good. Only one I liked was the Ghost Town Mine Ride shooting gallery one. Yeah, that's one thing we have noticed in VR is the slow-moving shooting gallery seems to work pretty well. You know, this idea of a slow-moving shooting gallery, that's basically what Drop Dead is. That's basically what Ghost Town Mine Ride is. And we've seen a number of these games where it's kind of a slow-moving shooting gallery, and it seems to work pretty well and not get people sick. So that is nice. Does anybody know how much it costs to outright buy Coaster Combat so you have unlimited tries on all the different tracks? Does anybody know what the price is for that? I didn't see it when I was looking at it. But you do get all these free trials. But of course, if I go there tonight to this birthday party and I start putting people into Coaster Combat, they're going to take all my free trials. It's all going to be gone. I'm going to have to buy it. Prince Alexander says, unless you have a full-scale simulator, the only way to get the body to experience these forces is by stimulating the brain. Ah, there we go. And isn't that what our boy Palmer Luckey is working on? Like actually tickling some little part of our brain so we don't have any motion sickness ever. The vestibulation, whatever it is, you know, all that type of thing. Yeah, Samsung is working on something like that, right? Paradise Decay says all Go games are around £4 to £5 each, roughly, he thinks. That's pretty good that the Go game prices are kept in check relatively. It should be like that, you know, bite-sized chunks of games to try out. So yeah, Republic, somebody back in chat was talking about Republic. I wanted to try that out, but I'm having some kind of problem with my download for it. So I think I might need to delete it, re-download it. Not sure what the deal is with that. But yeah, I'm trying to work my way through these various Oculus Go games, give them all a shot. And I'm liking it. It's the 3DS for me. The Oculus Go is the 3DS of for VR gamers. It's a 3DS for VR gamers. Putting on a random trailer here. This is Mortal Blitz on PlayStation VR. This is by Skonek Entertainment, I believe. They're working on some VR arcades in Korea, so they're doing some stuff there. Hussein X says Go version Coaster Combat. Oh, Go version of Coaster Combat has no in-app purchases. All tracks included with initial payment. And then Chris says, I think they have experimented with inner ear stimulation. It's $5. Okay, so it's $5 for Coaster Combat. And Chris, I believe, is talking about Samsung experimenting with inner ear stimulation and how that will work. Yeah, because there's a handful of people out there that unfortunately they suffer from all kinds of this motion sickness stuff. And there's some people, they just cannot do VR. And they have like an irrational fear of VR. And one of the things that I've said, and this will definitely piss people off, is I honestly think 80% of it is in your mind. I really believe 80% of it is in your mind. If you go into there's people that have already freaked themselves out before they ever get into VR. And the mind is a powerful thing, man. The mind is a powerful thing. It is called the placebo effect. And I really think like going into a VR deal, some people like they set themselves up to have VR sickness before they ever even get into VR. They're expecting VR sickness. And you get what you expect in this life in a lot of ways. Paradise Decay says you need to try Face Your Fears on the go. Some experiences are free. I have tried Face Your Fears on the go. Let me see if I can grab a trailer for Face Your Fears and I can talk about that a little bit. See, the thing is, I've played Face Your Fears. Hold on a sec, folks. I've played Face Your Fears. Okay, I'm going to grab this. Yeah, this is Turtle Rock Studios, Face Your Fears. I'll grab this trailer real quick so I can throw it on the background while we go ahead and talk about this. I've played Face Your Fears extensively on the Oculus Rift. And when I tried it on the go, it's basically the same thing. And it basically works perfectly great. So yeah, it's a good experience. Face Your Fears on the go is a good experience. In fact, Face Your Fears, how did it not end up in my top 30 horror VR experiences? Because it probably should. It probably should, actually. So maybe I'll have to update my my horror rankings, because Face Your Fears for the Oculus Rift and the Go should probably jump in there. Let me go ahead and grab this Face Your Fears trailer, and we can talk about it for a sec. Okay, so this is the Oculus Rift launch trailer, but you'll see here in this trailer that a lot of Face Your Fears is basically set in this little boy's bedroom, and you have like that creepy guy. You have these blocks going around. It's kind of Poltergeist. It's basically Poltergeist VR. They could have called this Poltergeist VR when you're in this little kid's bedroom, because it's straight up Poltergeist with the clown and everything. Like, whoever has the rights to Poltergeist should see this. They should go into this experience and they should think, man, we missed the boat. Where's the Poltergeist VR experience? Because this is Poltergeist VR. Now, the only thing that I've tried is I've tried the 3 different versions for the kid where he's in his bedroom, and I think all of those look very good and they play very good. They are impressive. I would put some of my guests, I would put some of the people at the barbecue at this birthday party tonight, I would put some of them in this if I wasn't worried that they would be like, and they'd throw my freaking Go off and it would land and hit the ground and break. Because I'm kind of worried about this, because this would scare the crap out of somebody. Like, I could not put my wife in this. My wife would freak out too much. With this kid running around up on the ceiling, this spider kid, oh no, my wife would not be. There's a lot of people that just would not be able to deal with this. Now, what I've tried on the go, Face Your Fears, is the bedroom with the kid, the 3 different versions, like the ghost version. There's basically 3 different versions, right? There's the clown, the ghost, and then one other one. And it's all pretty much Poltergeist, basically. And then I tried the Stranger Things one. And that one's pretty good. But I haven't tried anything else. So I don't know. Is there something else I should try? as far as Face Your Fears on the go, because those were the ones that I tried. I don't think I've tried absolutely everything. Hussein X says plain, spider, and phone box ones are good of the paid ones. And Paradise Decay says, yeah, Hussein X, absolutely, you got it right. Chris says, I saw a YouTuber play Face Your Fears actually sitting in his bed when he played. That's immersion for you. Yeah, you know, when I was in it, and you're in your bed, I looked down and I looked at my lap, and it's like, yeah, you got like covers over you. You feel like you're in bed. It's a pretty good experience. And it makes sense why this affects us to such a degree, because think about it. We've all been little kids. We've all been little kids in a bed, and we've all been freaked the hell out by a stuffed animal that was across. Like how many of you, when you were kids, you had some stuffed animals in the back of your room, and like it would be dark, it'd be late at night, you start hearing noises, you're looking at your stuffed animals way across the room, and you swear that your stuffed animals are starting to move and starting to do stuff. And it's because of our minds, man. Our minds can play some crazy tricks on us, just like people that expect to have motion sickness in VR, they're going to get motion sickness. Well, our minds are powerful, and you can make some crazy shit happen with your mind when you start staring at a stuffed animal from 20 feet away and you're like 7 years old. I know all of you guys have experienced that probably when you were a little kid. The Rex Terra says the Stranger Things demo is really good. Yeah, I tried it. It is pretty good. Paradise Decay says, I would 100% recommend Final Approach. It's like Twilight Zone. Oh, dude, is it like Twilight Zone on the plane with that crazy monkey thing with John Lithgow or whatever is the actor? Oh, man, that is such a good performance. Is it John Lithgow, I believe, the actor? Such a great job in that movie, The Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone movie was a pretty freaking good movie, don't you guys think? Yeah, so Jim Hall says, no stuffed animals here, action figures maybe. Okay, yeah, so if you were a little kid, you had action figures way across. You had Greedo, you had Snaggletooth and Hammerhead and all the different little Star Wars guys. Like in E.T., you know, in E.T. when he's playing with the little action figures and E.T. is watching him playing with the action figures. Kind of funny. So anyway, yeah, the gremlin on the plane. The gremlin on the wing, and it was like John Lithgow, and he's like sweating like crazy, and like the airline stewardess comes over to him, and she's like, what's the problem, and he like opens up the window, he's like, look out there. And then the airline stewardess, she looks out there, there's nothing on the wing, it's just storming. She's like, oh, everything's fine. And then yeah, that is a really good, the Twilight Zone on the plane thing is really good. Oh, Shatner was in the first one, Lithgow in the second one. Okay. Yeah, I just remember Lithgow, and I remember him sweating his ass off, and I remember he did a really good job of that. So yeah, that was kind of cool. But yeah, that is Face Your Fears. I have tried it. It is impressive. It's more impressive to me that the difference between Face Your Fears on the Go and the Rift is almost non-existent. That's what's impressive to me. I love it when I try some of these things where the differences between the big boy version and the little boy version is basically non-existent. I love that. So that's kind of cool too. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, John Edwards, he's saying at John Edwards, Toy Story is based on a true story. Paradise Decay says it's clear on the Go. A lot of stuff is very clear on the Go. The Go has great optics. Much impressed with the optics of the Go. Okay, so one thing we haven't done today, we're actually an hour in. We've been going for an hour. It's amazing how time flies when you have a shit show and you don't know what you're going to do. Time just flies because you just randomly go to different things. Let's check the Vive subreddit for a minute real quick. Let's just see if there's any major big stories that are going on. And so here is the Vive subreddit, and the number one upvoted story, 348 upvotes over here. Grand Theft Auto 6 rumored to have full support for virtual reality. Now, this was posted by Dow1Dow, and this guy has been on the Vive subreddit for a long time. I remember this guy back in the days. Like, I was on the Vive subreddit in April of 2016, and I remember Dow1Dow back then. Those of us that were in the Vive subreddit back in April of 2016, it was really a cool community vibe that was going on back at that time. I was there, even though I didn't have my Vive yet. The number one response is, I'll believe it when I see it. It's got 323 points. Yeah, people don't freaking believe this shit. And then Sven Viking says the article itself admits it's based on random internet discussions rather than any sort of plausible sources. Okay, so, what are we talking about here, folks? Is this just some kind of rumor? It appears like it's some, it's a rumor. Grand Theft Auto 6 coming to VR. And let me hop back over to our normal window here, because you guys got to be talking about some Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, is it going to happen? Are we going to get GTA 6 in VR? And Gopher Chuck says, Rockstar said they don't think VR is viable. Well, we do know 2K Games, okay? 2K Games, or Take-Two Interactive, or whatever the hell they're called, the CEO, like Strauss Zelnick or whatever, he was the CEO. Can I freaking talk? Strauss Zelnick is the CEO of like Take-Two Interactive, right? He has talked shit about VR in the past. And one of the things he said about VR, this was a long time ago, but he talked some major smack. He said, basically, he kind of dismissed VR altogether, because he dismissed it because he said, I don't think people are going to dedicate a room in their house to VR. And so he basically said, look, VR is going to fail because people aren't going to dedicate a room to VR, and you kind of have to dedicate a room to VR. That was Strauss Zelnick. And so this was a number of years ago, and we have to ask ourselves, has Take-Two, has 2K Games, has Take-Two Interactive, or whatever the hell this company is called that owns Rockstar and all that, have they ever done any VR, period, ever? And they did the NBA 2K experience, which was absolute garbage. And then I think Carnival Games VR, was that published by 2K Games? Even though it was made by Cat Daddy Games? Carnival Games VR, was that published by Take-Two? So Take-Two Interactive and 2K Games, they have not been down with VR. So why would we think that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to have full VR support? Because you're talking about millions upon millions upon millions of dollars that would have to be thrown at this to do VR right. But, ladies and gentlebots, is there any game that could possibly make VR a thing more than Grand Theft Auto? Is there any freaking game? Oh, L.A. Noire. Yeah, L.A. Noire, the VR case files. How quickly we forget. Of course, the game hardly runs on anybody's system or setup. L.A. Noire, the VR case files, hates the Oculus Rift. It hates the Oculus Rift, and it absolutely hates my PC rig. It hates it with a passion. I've never been able to enjoy L.A. Noire. That is one VR game that just went right past my head. I've never been able to play L.A. Noire, never been able to check it out. I'm hoping that one of you boys in chat will hook me up with that 1080 Ti at a really beautiful discount, and then maybe I could finally play L.A. Noire. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about 2K, man. I don't know. Jim Hall says he's never played a GTA game. Phil Yarn says it will happen eventually. GTA 6 will have some type of VR support, even if it's a mod. And then we have a couple of other people talking about how they're making a VR room. You got to have a VR room. This is my VR room. I had a projector. It was right here. And the projector is gone. See that big screen over there? I used to watch movies on that big giant screen. I used to play PlayStation 3 games and Xbox One games and PS4 games and stuff on that big giant screen. And I basically said, F it. It's a VR world now, baby. I used to be into all this home theater stuff, like LED TVs and 4K and freaking all this like high dynamic range and all this bullshit that you have, right? I was really into that. But you know what? VR came along and it fucking killed that shit. It killed it. And the other thing about VR too, see this? This is headphones, ladies and gentlemen. This is headphones. And if you have a VR headset or you have an AR headset, you're going to be using headphones. That's the way we're getting our audio. So there is no reason ever. See those big ass speakers over there? Those are Energy C8 towers, Canadian loudspeakers. Anybody that is in Canada and you know about Energy speakers, they are no freaking joke. Those speakers are very good, right? But there's no need to buy speakers like that anymore because we are moving to a world where we're not going to have screens that are locked in one location. We're going to be in a world where screens are everywhere. AR, VR, man, screens are everywhere. And it's going to be headphones, baby. It's not going to be big speakers. So it's like the home theater industry, they got maybe 10, 15 years left, and the home theater industry is dead. It is Blockbuster, baby. It is GameStop, Best Buy, all of these companies. Like, that's the reason that Samsung and Sony and anybody that is really involved in televisions and displays, they got to go all in. They got to go all in on VR and AR because their lunch is about to be eaten by Oculus. Their lunch is about to be eaten by HTC. Their lunch is about to be eaten by Valve. These companies have to protect what they have. And so LG, Sony, anybody that makes screens and TVs, they got to get into VR. They got to get into AR. And if you're a speaker company, I feel for you. If you're a speaker company, I feel for you because you're going to have to transition to headphones because no one's going to buy a big ass loudspeaker 10 years from now. Why would you? Unless it's for a commercial situation, a movie theater or something. But is anybody going to give a damn about movie theaters when we have crystal clear IMAX movie theaters anywhere at any time when we put our VR headsets on? I'm kind of going off on a rant here, but let me tell you, folks, the death of the home theater thing is some real shit. And I'm coming from AVS forums. I was on the AVS forums forever. That is where I met Steve, VR Roundtable. I met Steve on AVS forums, and there are still people on AVS forums that really believe that home theater is going to last. Like they really think home theater is going to survive. And I've seen the light. I've seen the future. Home theater's dead. It is dead, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, here's Steve Bishop is in the building. Steve, yeah, I met Steve on AVS forums. Steve, do you think I'm out of my mind with this rant that the whole entire home theater thing is going to die? Okay, he doesn't agree. But you know why he doesn't agree, ladies and gentlemen? Because he's got a lot of money wrapped up in it. He's got a lot of money wrapped up, and he still uses a projector. He still uses his theater room. See, there's people that spend all this money creating a theater room like this, and they see the future, but they don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe it. I'm sorry, Steve. I hate to break you the bad news. In 10 years, you're never going to use a projector. In 10 years, you will never use a projector. In 5 years, you're never going to use a projector. Screens being stuck on a wall is dead. It's dead. It's all going to die. And Steve says, no, I'm out of my mind because families, families, people gather around families. But dude, Magic Leap, bro, everybody's going to have their little Magic Leap headset. And basically, you're going to go over to the barbecue. This is the same argument I got into about, no, there will always be big TVs. There will always be people gathering around big TVs. No, there won't. No, there won't. People used to gather around the radio. In the 1900s, people would gather around candlelight and they would read a book. Does that happen now? No, it doesn't. the advance of technology just keeps advancing and shit will be killed. How many people are using a sewing machine nowadays? How many people are using a manual typewriter? How many people read newspapers? Shit dies. Shit gets killed. New things come along and they just kill shit. And it's going to die, folks. It is going to die. You've heard it here first. What's going to happen is people are going to go over to someone else's house. They're going to be wearing their nice little Intel Vaunt glasses. And they're going to say, hey, what frequency is the game on? Oh, the frequency is 812.47. Boom, they dial in the frequency. Bam. You're in someone's backyard. They're having a barbecue. You look up at the sky, and there is an IMAX size screen showing the Monday night football game or Sunday night football or the FIFA World Cup or whatever the F it is. Everybody's going to be able to share the same screen. So we're going to see everybody's eyes. Everybody's going to be sitting around everybody. You got your head in the sand if you believe that they're not going to kill this. It's going to be killed. The idea of a big TV being in a room weighing hundreds of pounds and putting it on a wall, and you have to go into a specific room to watch TV, that is going to be such a quaint and antiquated idea in about 5 years. But I'm a futurist, okay? I am a futurist, which has been said before. Okay, here's what Steve says, okay. There will be a use for TV display until VR/AR is so ubiquitous that it can be entirely social. Things do die, but right now I can't watch an NFL game with my friends and family with VR. Yeah, right now you can't. Right now you can't. I'm talking 5, 10, 15 years. It's a dead industry. Home theater is dead. So if you are in the home theater business, you've got about 10 years. You've got about 10 years and you need to figure something else out. Okay, so that was a rant. That was one of my old classic rants, but now it was done live. Gopher Chucks. I use a 7.1 receiver and I play my VR with full open 600 watt Yamaha sound. You know what, Gopher Chucks? I do that. I actually do that. See these big speakers over here, these Energy C8s? I do that with Beat Saber or with like Time Carnage or Space Pirate Trainer, any VR game that is pretty much 180 degrees and front facing, it actually is pretty fun to have big ass loudspeakers blaring and not have anything on your ears at all. And it's not as hot. Like you don't get as hot as well. So yeah, I do that. Main fan says Ranthony. Yeah, I'm off on a rant here, guys. My blood pressure has been raised and I am on a rant. John Schubrook said, the CRTV is dead. It is. Where do you see the CRTV cathode ray tubes? Although I have one right here. I have one right here because I'm a retro gamer. And every once in a while, I'll break out my Super Nintendo and play some retro thing. But where do you see CRTVs? You see them at thrift stores. You see them at grandma's house. Has anybody seen that movie? What is that movie where it's Adam Sandler and Chris Rock and they're like older dudes now, right? And they go to some cabin or something and Adam Sandler has these kids and they're in a cabin and they have the old CRTV and the kids are like, what is the deal with this what is the deal with this TV? This is some Stone Age shiznit. That's the actual quote in that movie. This is some Stone Age shiznit. They're talking about, yeah, Grown Ups, T-Dub. T-Dub knows the scene that I'm talking about. Yeah, the movie Grown Ups. Adam Sandler has a couple of young kids. They're at like a freaking cabin, and you know they're kicking back, right? Because somebody died, their old coach died or whatever, right? And the young kids are in there and they're looking at this old ass CRTV and they're like, this is some Stone Age shiznit. And that's what CRTVs are. But chat's moving hella fast now. Okay, Steve Bishop says, I agree with you. I think it will be longer than 5 years though. Okay, so Steve says, look, yeah, it is all going to die, but it's going to be longer than 5 years. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a while. There's grandmas. There are grandmas right now that still have a CRTV in their house. There are grandmas that still have that. So it takes a while for it to die. It really does. But anyway, guys, I've been going for a while here. I got to bounce out of here. Even though this got fun and hyped up at the very end, I got to bounce out of here. So we'll go ahead and throw on our little outro trailer real quick. This was fun. It sucks how it got all exciting at the very end, and then I got to get the hell out of Dodge. But I do got to get out of Dodge. And Kiaro is calling me. Kiaro and the Elixir of Life. I will be checking that out a little bit later. Okay, so reminders, folks. Tomorrow is Saturday, and Saturday we start at 12 noon. So 12 noon a.m. on Saturday. Obviously, thanks for watching the show. Definitely subscribe to the channel, like the video, mail me your 1080 Ti in a nice box and make sure it's bubble wrapped. Go ahead and mail me your used 1080 Ti's. I will take them. Just mail it to Sacramento, Anthony, VR Game Rankings. The post office will know exactly what to do. VR Game Rankings is the channel. Subscribe, like, all those things, and I will see everybody tomorrow at 12 noon a.m. I will see you guys then. And of course, VR Roundtable, don't forget, this Sunday, 9 a.m., Steve, me and him can have a live on-air argument about how his home theater is antiquated and it will die. So yeah, have some pancakes, everybody. All right, see you guys then. Take it easy. Later.